it's always trying to strike the balance, because there's the artistic aspect of things where I want to be creative, but at the same time I have to work within specific constraints, and that's the balance that I've discovered, is that in order for you to achieve any particular goal, even as an artist, I always use this example of like, until you learn to use the brush properly, maybe you can stumble into being a Picasso. But the way I've done it is I've sort of gone and tried to innovate every aspect of that process, where it's like people have already gone through these steps. You don't need to rediscover how to use a paintbrush. And so that's what I'm slowly learning, and the reason why being around you and everybody else at B&I is the opportunity to see that people have already gone through these experiences. You don't have to necessarily learn through experience, which I feel is sort of an immature perspective on things, because you don't want to get tied down to a structure. And so I've gotten past that and sort of pushed beyond that, and as much as possible I try to be around people who've already established themselves and done something. And it's just a matter of piecing it together and finding the time to make it work and apply within the constraints of my own business.
So you started with the creative direction.
Yes.
You started with your own innovation, your own vision.
Yes.
And then you went from there and you found good teachers and you sought structure that improved your own vision.
I'm not doing tomorrow.
Sounds like a pretty awesome way to go about it.
Well, I mean, people have been doing it for thousands of years. Who was it? I think my buddy used to say it's like the wise man makes his own mistakes. The smart man makes his own mistakes. The wise man learns from the mistakes of others, or something like that.
And so, what's the biggest thing that you've learned this past year that's helped you the most?
Learn from the mistakes of others. But also, like, why try to? Like, I've set this, like, I guess you could say obnoxious goal if you want to be realistic, but like a goal of like $10 million in 10 years, because I need a specific numerical target. And so I've never created $1 million, let alone $10 million. How am I going to innovate that if I've never been through that process? And so it's probably better to find people that have done it. It's probably better to be around people, and I credit this to my buddy Aaron, who's in the film industry. He's done some work on the Taken films. He's like, at the very beginning when I started doing this, he was like, make sure you go and work with someone who's been in the industry, who's got very stringent expectations and a specific work ethic, because they'll already know what to expect of this process. And for 2-3 years I innovated, and then after that it was like, okay, I'm like banging my head against the wall, this is dumb. And so it was just, now I've got an opportunity to work with a few groups, a few companies on 2 productions, and to see that level of focus. I mean, it took us 4 hours to set up lights and cameras the other day, and that's like my half-day rate just to get things ready within the hour to get things going. And then for the prior production after that, it took 2 or 3 hours just for the talent to cut tomatoes just for the right shot that they were looking for. So I mean, that's the level of like rigor that is expected out of something at that scale.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but also it gives me the